October 23, 1942. El Alamein, Egypt. The desert wind moved low across the hard-packed sand, carrying grit into every seam of uniform and weapon. Under a moonless sky, less than 70 miles from Alexandria, the British Eighth Army prepared to launch an offensive that would decide the fate of North Africa. For months, Axis forces under Field Marshal Erwin Rommel had blocked the Allied advance. Now, the line had narrowed to a strip of desert between the Mediterranean and the impassable Qatar Depression. There would be no retreat for either side. In the weeks before the attack, something unusual appeared behind British lines. Tanks seemed to be assembling far to the south, well away from the coastal road. From the air, they looked real enough, rows of armored vehicles casting long shadows in the sun. German reconnaissance pilots photographed them repeatedly. Intelligence officers in Rommel's headquarters dismissed them at first, then began to adjust their estimates. The British, it appeared, were preparing their main thrust through the southern desert. What those pilots photographed were not tanks. They were wooden frames, canvas skins, and carefully painted illusions, known as sun shields. These structures were designed to turn trucks into fake tanks by day and real tanks into trucks by night. This was Operation Bertram, a deception plan engineered by Brigadier Dudley Clark and executed with obsessive precision. The goal was simple: convince the enemy that the main attack would come weeks later and from the wrong direction. Every detail was controlled. Dummy pipelines were laid southward, advancing only a few miles per day to suggest slow logistical buildup. Real fuel lines toward the north were buried. Artillery positions were masked. Even false radio traffic was generated to support the illusion. By mid-October, the Axis command believed the British offensive would not come before November and that it would strike in the south. Rommel himself was ill and away from the front when the attack began. At 9:40 p.m. on October 23rd, more than 1,000 British guns opened fire along a narrow sector in the north. The bombardment was precise and overwhelming, cutting lanes through minefields that Rommel had called the Devil's Gardens. Infantry of the Australian, New Zealand, South African, and British divisions moved forward immediately behind the shells. German and Italian units, expecting only diversionary action, were caught in exposed positions. When Axis armor attempted to respond, it moved toward the south, toward the decoys. By the time Rommel returned and understood the scale of the assault, the battle had already turned. Fuel shortages, air superiority, and relentless pressure ground down the Axis defenses. On November 2nd, the British launched Operation Supercharge, breaking through the line near Tel El-Akakar. 2 days later, Rommel ordered a retreat. Hitler demanded the position be held. It could not be. The decoy tanks were never meant to fight. They were meant to be believed, and they were. By November 11th, the Axis forces were in full withdrawal toward Libya. The Second Battle of El Alamein ended the long retreat of the British Army and marked the first decisive, large-scale land victory over German forces in the war. Winston Churchill would later say, "Before Alamein, we never had a victory. After Alamein, we never had a defeat." Sources used: Rick Atkinson, An Army at Dawn; Stephen Bungay, Alamein; British National Archives, Operation Bertram Records; Official History of the Second World War, UK War Office; Outcome and Legacy. Operation Bertram proved that deception, when grounded in discipline and detail, could shape the battlefield as decisively as firepower. The wooden tanks of El Alamein helped shatter a seasoned enemy force and turn the tide in North Africa. Today, the battle stands as a reminder that war is fought not only with steel and courage, but with patience, planning, and the quiet power of misdirection.